A team that's kind of searching for answers right now, though, is Cavalry FC. In light of that 1-0 loss to York United and kind of the growing trend this season, which is when they score first, they're great. 7-1-0 in all competitions this season when they get that first goal. When they can't score first, that's when the struggles start. 0-5-4 in 9 matches in all competitions when they don't get that first goal. We've seen kind of their struggles to break down low blocks this season. Let's actually go to Atco Field first here and hear from Marco Carducci his thoughts on the 1-0 loss to York United and kind of how this has become a pattern for this team this season.
It's a common trend, right? Teams will come here, especially, and be happy to not have the ball and just sit in a block, and that's what we had today. It's a problem that we have to solve because at the end of the day, we didn't score, and the goal we concede is something that we're obviously frustrated with as well because it feels like that game very easily could have been a 0-0 had anything changed, had that not happened. But no, it's a problem that we have to solve. It's something we have to deal with. We know teams are going to do that against us. We take it as a sign of respect, but now it's about breaking down those blocks and scoring goals because that's what wins games.
A problem that they have to solve. In a lot of ways, this was one of their better performances, I think, against the low block all season. I mean, they create 2.8 expected goals. They have 26 shot attempts, 9 on target. Like most days, probably one of them is going in. But when this has been a wider trend like this, Alex, what have you seen from Cavalry when they go up against those set blocks this season that could improve over the back half of the season? Honestly, needs to improve if again they want to kind of push those top two teams, or even with York United just 1 point behind them, hold on to that third spot.
Yeah, the big thing that continues to stand out is who is going to get on the in the box and on the end of anything. And it doesn't have to be, perfect plays, but who's going to clean up the junk? And it feels like with Cavalry when you're creating that many chances and there should be if you're getting 2.8 xg, right? What I see is there should be rebounds, right? There should be, you know, high quality chance, and it feels like with Cavalry they're creating all these chances, but they're not maybe getting to that stage where because the thing is with breaking down low blocks, it's ugly because you can create a high xg chance, but if you take an extra second to fire it off, all of a sudden there's a defender in the lane and your high xg chance gets blocked, doesn't reach the target, or maybe it forces you to pick your corner a bit more and you go wide. So with Cavalry, of course, that's one that, maybe they're with the lack of confidence in front of goal, they're taking a little, too much time. Guys like Warshewski and Musi, who are such instinct players, and maybe taking that extra second that they didn't in, last year when everything they were touching was just touch goal. But also I just look systematically, that starts with having a guy in the box who can constantly cause problems. And they just don't have that guy right now. Tobias Warshewski, he's obviously been in a slump, but that's not been him. Even last year when he was scoring his goals, he drifts out and combines play, and he's very good at it. And it's something that you don't look at him as this being the problem because this is who he is and this is what he does well. But you look at, okay, tactically, if Warshewski is going to drift out, especially against these low blocks, you need a presence in the box to fill in for him. So many times Warshewski's out wide, helping create a dangerous play. Cavalry crosses in, and then the guy you'd want is, still outside the box. So I really look at finding a way to get a presence in around there because they're doing a lot of the things right. I think it's something where a guy like Musi, for example, he shanked like 4 or 5 crosses. And I just say that because when he's on, that's not happening. And there's clearly a bit of a crisis in confidence. But I think they also need a guy who can be there and kind of, just brute force their way out of this slump, brute force their way through low blocks. And they don't seem to have that. And it's kind of left this where they need the perfect goal. They need the perfect action. And you're just not going to get those against low blocks. It's just so rare and something that we see a lot when teams go through slumps like this.
Well, they did bring in a couple of players who they've identified as kind of those lock pickers this week. And Gauthier Antigny in his debut was, very electric. He had a lot of opportunities to do just that. I mean, 3 shot attempts, 6 chances created. I still don't know how Sergio Camargo put that one over the net from close range. I mean, if he tried to do that again 9 times, I don't think he's able to do it quite like that. 13 touches in the box. Like Antigny was pretty much everywhere there around, and we saw Salouf get some great chances at the end as well. Alex, how important are these different profiles of players they're bringing in? I don't think they necessarily solve that exact issue per se of having a presence in the box, although Intigne did a decent job at times of getting in there and creating opportunities, but they are other options and proven options within this league of players who can break down lower blocks or at least beat players off the dribble.
I guess the argument could be, if you have a Saluf who can just kind of take guys 1v1 and make things out of nothing, if you have Intigne's speed, maybe there is more incentive for Warshawski to stay in the box a bit more because, you got kind of these more one-man chance creation machines, so to speak. So I guess that's something to keep an eye on if that maybe alters how Cavalry's attack operates and the sort of patterns they have. Because yeah, Intigne was fantastic. He was, had Cavalry found a way to turn this into a draw or a win, he could have been in a shout for player of the match. It felt like he was just dangerous, direct. And Cavalry haven't maybe had that sort of speed and in behind threat with so many of their guys wanting to cut in and play to feet and combine, which is nice. And then with Saluf, it's like we've seen in this league, he gets on the ball and goes at guys. And in some teams that worked very well, like Pacific. I guess it would have been 2023 it was where he had that very good season, but there's also, of course, time and a place. And maybe there's some moments last year where, it wasn't quite the situation for him. I think this Cavalry team is more of the former where, since they're always playing these low blocks, since they're always on the ball, it's going to get him these chances, just kind of do his thing. And, if he makes a mistake, then they're going to just win the ball back and get it to him. There's less of this pressure to constantly execute actions because, yeah, if Cavalry are going to keep getting to the box, you do hope from their perspective, you do think that their luck is going to turn, and just adding two guys that will get the ball to the box with more regularity will help them with that. And of course, give Warshawski more to work with, which might push him closer to the goal where he'll want to be.
Busy week for Cavalry as well. They're in Winnipeg to take on Valor, and then they take on Pacific as well. So a big opportunity for them to make up some points in the table here and maybe get closer to that top two. And again, show that they can get through some defensive teams as well.